Hey, me, Callie Carroll. Good morning, sunshine.
Morning, sunshine. Good morning, sunshine.
Oh, good morning, sunshine's daily dose of perspective. Good morning, sweet baby sunshines.
Good morning, sunshines. Let's get started.
Good morning, sunshines, and happy birthday to Whitten John Carroll. Do I always have to sing? I'm pretty sure I just lose like at least 80% of potential viewership because I do that in the beginning, and then people are like, oh my gosh, I can't even stand this woman. So for those of you that made it past the first 30 seconds, welcome to a daily dose of perspective, talking about trauma, healing, time, patience, and all of the different things. And it's actually a birthday message. So there's that. Before we get started, say good morning, sunshine, hashtag GMS in the comments, and then anything that you're grateful for. I'm grateful that my baby boy is indeed 4 years old and as healthy as he can be, which is a new level of healthy, which is cool because this is just the world that we're living in, and this is the life that is our journey that we get to do. So I'm so grateful for that. What are you guys grateful for? That always just kicks off your day in a different way. And if you actually like comment and connect to it, anytime you write down gratitude and you really like speak to the universe, you're going to have more of a positive effect. Okay, so let's talk about this trauma, healing, all the things, and why does that have to do anything with birthdays? So we are at right now this beautiful, momentous moment in our family. In fact, so Whitten John's fourth birthday is today. 2 years ago, on his second birthday, we were literally like right now, we were walking into Children's Hospital about to start his third string of chemotherapy because the first two strings didn't work. So, like, with different cancers, depending, especially since this is a rare cancer and they kind of have to find how to attack it. You know, cancer can hide from certain things. It doesn't want to get beat, right? So you can try to do different therapies, and it can actually run and hide in different areas. And in Whitten's case, that's exactly what it did. We were using a chemo. The first one was like pretty simple. It was only like on Mondays, and we did it for 6 weeks. And then that one wasn't working for his disease. Then the second one we did is at-home chemotherapy, where I administered it at home, which was pretty wild. That like I've administered chemo. Like I never thought that I would be able to say that. Or I don't want to say that, but I can't say that. So, and then we went and did scans in the beginning of October, and they discovered that not only did his hip tumor grow, his skull therapy was the same, or his skull tumor was the same, but then he had one in his femur and his shoulder and his shoulder and his rib cage and his pelvic bone. So these five new tumors had developed, and we had to do something really aggressive. So they decided to move him to this third string of therapy called clofarabine, which is a lot more aggressive than the other ones. And I asked the doctor, I'm like, it's much more effective. In fact, instead of the recurrence rate of this incurable cancer being 50% reoccurrence rate, it drops it down to like 10 or 15%. And I was like, well, why don't you just start with that? And he's like, a lot of people can't handle it. A lot of families, a lot of kids, like they just can't handle it because it's just that challenging. It's a year long. So we were supposed to start the week before his birthday, and then I don't remember what happened. I think he got a little bit sick or something, or he didn't hit his numbers. So you have to have your ANC has to be a certain level, like a certain highness, has to be like over 750 in order to get chemo, and his system hadn't bounced back yet. So we ended up having to start this third line of chemo on his actual second birthday. So we have all these adorable pictures. I should have pulled one up on here. That would have been so much fun, of him at the hospital. They're hooking him up. This was the first time where we actually had to sit for an 8-hour IV drip. The first day was kind of like crazy. It wasn't always that long, but where we were actually connected in the hospital. The other ones were at home and stuff, right? So they brought him a cake. All the nurses and doctors sung him happy birthday. They gave him a present. I had no idea what to expect, but all in all, aside from like barfing on the way home, like it was a pretty good day. And it was the beginning of a year-long adventure where we never knew what we were going to get. We were hospitalized for a week, I think like a week after this, because it was just so harsh on his system. And here we sit on his fourth birthday. I can't even believe that 2 years have passed, 2.5 years since his diagnosis. And finally, at this point, we get to celebrate his birthday any way that we want, pretty much, right? As long as we're still doing medication and we're not going up to like super high elevations. Those are really our only limitations. And we really get to dive into this next chapter of him being healthy. And I am, number one, just so freaking grateful for that. I am so unbelievably grateful that he feels good, he's having fun, he's healthy. We just did his 1 year scans, like after he rang the bell, right? And they were clear. And we're living our lives. We're in this chapter that I was waiting for, that I was wishing for, that I was hoping for, that I was thinking was going to be there tomorrow, in a month, in 6 months, in a year and a half. And that's really what I wanted to tie in today, and connect with you guys on how, when you're faced with different types of trauma, injuries, pain, loss, death, there's this time of healing. And we all want it to move quicker. We all want to go through it quicker. We all want it to be over already. And it's just not the way that it works. It's not the way that it works. Unfortunately, like, it's like, is this a positive message, Cal? I mean, at the end of the day, it is, because there's hope, but it's like that realization and the connection for all of us. You've probably experienced some sort of trauma, or you know someone who has, right? And in that, whenever whatever occurred, maybe they lost someone, they lost a friend, they lost a child, they lost a spouse, maybe they lost a marriage, they got divorced, maybe cancer hit the family, whether that was them or someone in their family, something that was like that pivotal, life changing, it will never be the same moment occurred for you or someone. And by the way, it will never be the same. I'm not going to have some like glorious message at the end of that, but that never be the same moment. And you have to go through this journey of healing, which can feel like a journey of despair at sometimes, in some moments, and a lot of the moments, especially depending on how you've armed yourself, your system, your tools, like I talk about a lot, your practices, especially how you've prepped in life to cope with and handle challenging adversity. It can really have an impact on how your healing goes. And the message that I guess I'm like coming back to myself is, I look back to the day of his diagnosis, right? And that I wasn't even thinking about anything, but maybe like a week after, I didn't know what to expect. And I was like, okay, so like, we're going to get through this, and in a couple months I'm going to be able to start working again. Like, my life, I'm going to start to get back my old life in a couple months. And then I realized after a couple months that was absolutely not true, right? We were starting a new chemo. And then I was like, it's okay, this one's going to work. In a couple months I'm going to be there. And think about your own journey in healing, right? Whether that's the loss of the marriage, the person, cancer, whatever it was, this big thing in your life, maybe a permanent injury to yourself. Like, you're like, it's going to be better at this point. And then it wasn't in a couple months, and I was like, okay, no problem. Like, then it's gonna be in like in 6 months, and then we found new tumors, and then we found our therapy was working, and I'm like, okay, everything's gonna change as soon as he rings the bell. Everything, we're gonna be right back to normal at that point. Still not true. I had no idea what the chemo hangover was going to be like, and providing my son the opportunity to acclimate back to the real world, and to try to get all these poisons out of his system, and get him sleeping and eating, and being able to socialize, and all these different things. So then another year, another entire year passes. At this point, I keep thinking it's a month out, it's 2 months out, it's whatever. But during all of that time, I was able to survive those moments, just as you're able to survive those moments, and you're stronger than you think. You discover this inner strength, and for me, this like resounding faith that lies within you. And it's just like that analogy that we hear about a lot, where a butterfly, right, goes into caterpillar, goes into its cocoon, and it has to turn into complete mush, and everything that once was disappears and evaporates and comes back together in something beautiful. Or the phoenix, right, like into the ashes of the fire that's burnt, that comes out this different being, this different entity. And that's what trauma is. And it's freaking sucks. It's absolutely horrible that any of us have to go through any of this. And it is also life life is going to be filled with different types of trauma as we move through. It is absolutely unavoidable that we will experience different trauma and loss because there is a beginning and there is an end to everything. And when we can, like, so for some people that brings up this, like, this worry and this anxiety of like always waiting for whatever to happen, or I know that it's going to happen, and you're not making me feel any better, Cal, you're making me feel freaking worse. But here's the thing, I want to make sure that I share that, like, I wouldn't change our journey for the world. I wish that my son had a rare cancer and this incurable diseases. No, I don't at all. But I know that God has a plan for us, and He's created this journey that is going to provide us a different type of strength as we walk through the next chapters of our lives. And do I wish we could have healed quicker? Do I wish He would have rang the bell and everything would have been like, oh, right back to normal? Of course, absolutely. That would have been incredible, but that's not what our journey has been meant to be. We had more things to learn. We still have more things to learn. And that goes to like the other side of it. So does that mean that, like, once you're through trauma, everything's just bop, it's just better, it's over, you're back to normal? You you're never back to normal. There is a new normal that you get to embrace, that you get to love, that you get to grow through and grow with, that you get to become with, but you will never be what you once were. And that's okay too. I will always be a cancer mom forevermore. I will pray for cures for these diseases that do not have cures, but that will always be a role. I will, like, I can't say that I don't have a kid without cancer anymore. I can't say that. You might not, you will always have lost that person in your life. That is a part of your story now. You will always have had that divorce that occurred. You will always have had that, illness that knocked you on your ass. That is a part of your story, and that is a part of your becoming. And what we get to do is we get to, number one, be patient in the process and acknowledge that healing takes time. And that, you can't rush the healing. Have you guys heard that song? It's an incredible song. You don't get to rush the healing. You get to you get to stand in your strength. You get to acknowledge that you're becoming. You get to choose gratitude over and over and over and over again, especially during the very, very hard days. You get to choose to emotionally release. You can't just push those emotions down. They will come back on you. Some people think it's like, oh no, I'm fine, I'm good. Here's nope. It will come up on you at some time. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you can draw it out though. So you can't rush it, but you can, and you get to, and this is a pretty cool thing, you have the option to choose how long you want to be in whatever stage you're in. There's a certain amount where your body's going to be ready to release, but you also have the ability to hold on. Like right now, okay, so I could choose to really focus on, um, all of the challenges that come with having these two diseases that my son has. I could choose to focus on the frustrations and the pain and the aggravation that is. And in fact, because I do know a lot of families, sorry, there's a little fly in here. I know a lot of people who have chosen to become the disease. They've chosen the disease for their family. That is everything for them. And I know I talk about it a lot with you guys. That's because I'm trying to share perspective. But in our day-to-day life, we're not thinking and talking about cancer and rare diseases. We're choosing to move through this and into our next space and our next chapter. You you might be experiencing a trauma where, you weren't sure if it was going to be 2 months or 6 months or 2 years of crying and letting go and releasing, and this is your journey. You get to really be with it. You can't rush it, right? You can't push through and be like, I'm just going to push those emotions down. But you do get to start to choose what you're going to focus on so that you don't prolong it. Does that make sense? So that's the second thing. You can't rush it, but you can prolong it. And that's your option. That's your choice. And you get to pick what you want to do there depending on what your focus is. And the next piece is that it will never be your old chapter. You are stepping into a new chapter after this. I am so ecstatic to be able to have Witten's fourth birthday and enjoy all of the health and the season that we're in right now. And also, I do acknowledge that I'm a chemo mom, that I'm a cancer mom, that his disease isn't curable, that, we don't, we're gonna have to have scans forever to make sure that we're taking care of things. That a lot of the children that have what he has have a degenerative, brain I don't even know what to call it because I don't want to research it because I don't want to know any more about it than I have to because we're not at that point, and I just pray that we're not going to be. um I could focus on his medications and all the problems with his other rare diseases, ABP deficiency, and that will always be a part of this chapter that I'm in. But I get to choose, right? Just like your life may have been permanently changed by whatever loss you're thinking about, I get to choose how powerfully, how joyfully, how lovingly and kindness I want to approach this next chapter and what I want to focus on. And we've talked a lot about vision. We've talked a lot about focus lately. And that's what it all comes down to. It all comes down to, what are we thinking about all day long? What are we allowing our brain to go through over and over and over and over and over and over and over again? Because that, whatever we're allowing and embracing, that's going to be what our life becomes. So even though you can never have what once was, you can have anything to come in the future. I mean, okay, anything. Yeah, okay, no, I know you can't bring the person back. You can't bring certain things back. I can't get rid of the diseases, but all of the other pieces around your life, you get to choose how you step into that with strength and how you support the others in your life to do the same. And I just think it's a really beautiful and important lesson that all of us can connect to today, whether you're just starting your trauma journey, maybe something just occurred and you're in the the depths of that fire, as a phoenix to become, or you're just entering the cocoon. And to you, I just want to tell you, you can do this. You've got this. You can do hard things and you will come out on the other side stronger, and allow yourself to let go and release, and also encourage, embrace, and force yourself to find gratitude, force yourself to find laughter, force yourself to see the beauty that's still there until you start to actually see it on your own. And you're strong. You can do this. And there's some of you who think that it's over next month, just like me. You think that it's going to be over in a year, and it's not yet. And that's okay. Things are a little bit easier than they were in the very beginning when you felt like you were in the depths of the ashes. It's a little bit easier, and it's going to get easier. Every single treatment, as we went through his 58 infusions, every single one got a smidgen easier. We got a little bit better at preparing and planning and emotionally embracing what we were going through. And you're going to get a little bit better at going through your day-to-day lifestyle. You're going to get a little bit better at being single instead of married. You're going to get a little bit better at doing life without that person who used to be your person in the world. You're going to get a little bit better at coping with the disease maybe that you're facing, or the ailment that you have. You're going to get a little bit better, as long as you choose the positive side of it, right? As long as you choose the positive attitude to stand up and choose to get better at it. And then you have those of you who are maybe in my same chapter, where you're coming out and you're just like, oh, we're at this like celebration time. This is so freaking amazing. And I just can't believe that we got to the other side. And then you like, but what if? But what if? Right? And for a lot of it, like, it's like, but what if that comes back? But what if something else occurs? But there's a fear or anxiety that lives in me around this, because like, what, I can't trust anybody in the future, that, this person broke me. The what ifs start to seep in. And just to you, I want to tell you, if you live in the what ifs and the fear of what occurred before, you're going to be stuck in that last chapter. You're never going to get to enjoy the new chapter. And will more trauma happen in the future? For every single one of us, there is a beginning and there's an end, which means that we will all end. Every person around us will end. Things are going to end. What we get to choose is to enjoy this moment, enjoy the present, enjoy this chapter, enjoy every single thing about right now, without choosing to focus on the fear of it ending, because then you're not even being in the now. You don't even get to experience now. It's already ended. If you're thinking about what ifs, then you're letting go of the what could be in the nows already. You're basically like, you just give up. So for all of us that are on this side of it, embrace the today. Embrace every single moment. Hug your people a little bit tighter. Tell them you love them a little bit more. Choose to be in your joy more often. I know you need to get things done. I know that you have to, support your family. I know that you have your different people to take care of, but you can still choose joy in your journey, and you can choose to see the joy in all of those actions in your journey on a continual basis. So it's a great message for all of us. And wherever we're at in the trauma circle, or maybe you're on the outside, you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. No problem. Still do, like, recognize those things, so the people that are around you, you can support them as best as you can. And also, at some point, you choose joy. You live in the day to day right now. And if trauma hits at some point, come back, right? Save this so that you have it for the future. So, good morning, sunshines. Daily dose of perspective today. Just want to again just give so much thanks. You know what? I haven't done this for a moment, so let's just do it. Um, I pray a lot, and my praise always start the same, because I believe that it's important to be grateful for these moments, and also it's a great day to be grateful. Every day is a great day to be grateful, but when your baby boy turns 4 and is um, NAD from his cancer, it's a really great day. So, dear God, thank you for this moment. Thank you for this exact moment. Thank you for my baby boy and his healed little body and his healed little brain, and the cancer that is non-active disease in his body, whatever that means. And I'm so grateful and thankful for the doctors who are hopefully at some level working on cures for what he has. And thank you for his medication for his other diseases. And I do pray for relief from those. I pray for all of the hurt people in my life right now. I pray for those of you who I know are going through something really, really hard, and you're just entering that hard phase of trauma. And I just pray for your strength and for your faith, and for God to wrap his arms around you and just hold you in his light and tell you it's going to be okay. And I know it might not be tomorrow, but it will be okay at some point. And God, I thank you so much for my family and for this present moment, for this exact moment. So excited to go out and celebrate Whitten John. I love you guys. Daily dose of perspective. I'm out. Bye. Amen.
Thanks for joining, and don't forget to subscribe and, of course, share with your friends. Guys, that's how we impact more lives. All right, see you next time.